Yes, that's a good question. First thing, you can just let go and let yourself evolve by natural forces. Second one, you can use force. Okay? And using force has been sitting somewhere, here or anywhere else, in the audience of someone that will transmit the experience, how he did it, and you try to reproduce the experience. So learn from someone who is enlightened if you want to enlighten. If you want to awaken, you need to learn from someone who is awakened, or else they don't know. If you want to enlighten, which is one step beyond, like the effort it takes to awaken is 10 times that to enlighten. Okay? So if you have this great awakened being, he's conscious, he doesn't believe the drama of life, but he does not have self-consciousness to the point of power over nature, then he's not enlightened. Enlightenment is one step beyond, where you just exist in as a self, knowing you have the body and you still have to deal with it. We're still in nature. Once enlightened, you're still in nature, you have to deal with it. Okay? So, let's say you want to learn about cooking, you have to go see a cook. Okay? If you go see grandma, you're going to see someone of experience and you'll make a nice apple pie eventually. Okay? If you want to become a great chef, you need a great chef to learn from. Or do 100 lifetime of experiences in cooking. Make a lot of pies. Okay? If you want to learn how to pilot a plane, you need to learn from a pilot. If you go learning cooking with grandma instead of a good chef, there's no drama, no consequence in not being very competent in cooking. But if you want to try to fly a plane, the first time you fly, if you learn to fly with grandma, is dramatic. You might actually have to start all over again. Okay? So there are some situations where you need a very experienced person, because the first people who flew, some of them died. They died so that others could be so alive now and having autopilot and all this technology. Okay? So enlightenment is, the risk level of enlightenment is somewhere in between cooking and piloting. Okay? You won't die if you learn from yourself. Well, maybe you will. It's just not defined yet. Okay? And especially if you take the technique bought on this store that says you're going to enlighten if you do this mantra, and you start doing too much, you overcharge your system and you provoke it to be ill, and you die. I mean, I've seen this. Some people say, don't do Kuji-in unless you're guided. Because Kuji-in is too difficult to handle when you don't have the guidance of someone to teach you. Well, that's accurate. If you're very crazy and you start getting sick and all you do is pump more bad Kuji-in in there because you're focusing your energy to become more powerful and it's filled with anger. I want to become powerful. And you do the Kuji-in based on some state of mind that is sick from the start, and you just empower it, and you have these great warriors, very powerful, focusing spiritual techniques such as Kuji-in to amplify their power, thinking that they will amplify their power using rage. Wah! And they cause an ailment in their body, normally the emotional and hormonal system, and they die very quickly. Like, if they had 20 years left, they have 2, okay? And in great pain, usually, okay? So, if you do Kuji-in and develop compassion, or you develop faith. You develop faith, okay? So when you have faith, nothing is holding you back when you throw a punch. Okay? Let's say you're afraid of being hurt by people. You're going to throw a punch in martial arts, and this fear of hurting someone is holding you back. Regardless if you see it or not. Okay? It's personal growth. If you're afraid to be hurt, it's going to hold you back. Because you still have something unresolved and you don't want to do something to someone if you're afraid. Okay? If you resolve everything and you're in a state of faith towards the soul, a great self, supreme consciousness, and you know yourself to be a good person, that you will not destroy the other, not because you're afraid, but because you're responsible. You'll throw a freaking powerful punch that will just stop at the moment you want it to stop because you're conscious. Okay? So these great martial artists, they throw punches that are like 10 times the amount of pressure than others, and they say, why? I do as hard as I can, and I'm really strong, and I push like 200 pounds, and you see this rare guy that just goes at 2,000 pounds of pressure in one fist, and it's like naturally impossible, but some do it. because nothing is holding them back. And they also have nothing that makes them believe that they will be hurt. So they're not. Okay? That's an example of how you can mislearn or good learn from, if, you know, how do you force yourself to evolve? You ask someone to help you along the way. Right? That was just a good example in Kuji. Okay? Because a lot of my students like that. Now, I told you there was going to be a meditation where we learn how to become conscious more. Anta in Sanskrit means death. Ahanta, little in front. It's not it's Ahanta means non-dead. Be careful not to write undead because it's another word. Non-dead. Okay, it's not like the undead, zombies and vampires. No. Non-dead is the concept of destruction without the concept of dying. Okay? We call that transformation. Alright? Non-death is what we want to focus at. We want to focus at death and stop believing that it is death. Okay? We want to focus at decay, at the ceasing of existing. We want to look at impermanence. We want to look at the fact that everything will eventually fade away, whatever we are afraid of, without the concept that there's something evil in there. It's non-death. And it actually promotes life. Because you get into a state of acceptance. Okay? Ahanta is acceptance of the truth. That will free you from the illusion of death. Ahanta is accepting the truth about death that will free you from the illusion of death. Breathe. Be conscious of that. There is an understanding in the mind. I agree. There has to be an understanding as feel, experience. Okay? Regardless of your state of denial, fear, shame, or pride, okay? Ahanta will lead you to accepting, to letting go. Okay? Your identity will not mind discovering something higher. So we start by going beyond the illusion of death, without necessarily saying that death is not, but without endorsing it either. It's something your mind will not conceive until you get the experience. Second is Buddha. Buddha is awakened. It is the invocation to awaken, to become conscious. Ahanta Buddha, to become conscious of what does not die. It is your soul. It is the self. It is what you are. We'll say the Buddha body. You will become conscious of the Buddha body. Okay? I know you like to take very precise notes. You'll also have the video to rewatch, right? Let's speak of Shiva. For some people, Shiva is a guy dancing with many arms in a circle of fire, sitting in a graveyard amongst corpse. Now, the Shiva we want is not the dancing in fire part, it's the sitting with the corpse part. Okay? Shiva is pictured often sitting in a graveyard. He is the power that brings about this transformation of what had to go so that renewal could come. Okay? Do you understand that? So Shiva is pictured that way, but Shiva is not some guy in a certain fire with many arms. It's not some guy sitting in a graveyard. Shiva is a state of consciousness. It's not a statue, it's not a god, it's not a being, it's not individuality. It's a state of being of a very high level, which is nothing is permanent, all is transformed, and he is also the source of compassion. Shiva is a source of compassion. Because whatever dies, he will make on the what is useful for you next. So you can be under the impression that Shiva will always grant your wish. He will not grant the wish of your ego. He always grants the wish of the soul. Okay? Shiva is whatever you observe is transformed to become in a higher state. Okay? It's extremely difficult for me to express in words what Shiva is, a state of mind. When you experience it, we'll say, wow, this is Shiva. This is why they portray him as an individuality in a graveyard, happy and compassionately letting corpse decay, acceptance of what is, conscious of non-death, while everything seems to be dead. Okay? Frees you from what dies. Okay? Om. Everything divine. What we will do now is take a big sip of water. And I will even sit down with you guys. Breathe, stay conscious. Okay? Give yourself some water, it's wise. And keep being conscious. Start saying it in your mind. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Okay? Softly. It's very important to stay self-aware. Conscious that you are conscious. Paying attention to your ability to pay attention. Awareness that you are aware of your self-awareness. Makes a loop. Alright? And you will sink in yourself. And you will try to be as dark and obscure as you can in your mind, imagining the deep voice. Anta Buddha Shiva Om. And breathe. And in your mind softly, Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. You go like this a few times. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Then this obscure, profound Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Relax. Self-awareness. Visualize your body being the body of the Buddha. Self-awareness and visualize yourself as a Buddha. softly in your mind, Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Getting in the state of self-awareness, expanding consciousness, and visualize your Buddha body starting to become bigger than your human body. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Buddha body expand. You are greater than your physical body to a point where you start to lose its permanence. Your Buddha body expands. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Dissolve in consciousness. Self-awareness expanded. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Accepting consciousness. Accept everything from Supreme Consciousness. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. Dissolve in the universe. Dissolve in oneness. Great light in darkness. In what seems to be void, you see light. In what seems to be empty, there is fulfillment. From the depths of your soul, Ahanta Buddha Shiva. Ahanta Buddha Shiva. Ahanta Buddha Shiva. Breathe Stay transcending. Pay attention to your physical body. Pay attention to your physical body and breathe. Start to become contained in the human again. Slowly come back to your natural state, the one you're used to. But accept consciousness. Accept the effect of the most radiant and beautiful consciousness on you. Become human. And still accept the presence of supreme consciousness. The beauty of your soul, the beauty of what is beyond your soul. Slowly come back, and now you will take a deep breath and open your eyes and stay accepting of consciousness. This simple meditation will allow you to get used to the higher radiance from above. It gets you used to not die. Doesn't mean to live forever, no. It is consciousness of non-death. It is consciousness of your awareness. It is consciousness of Shiva. Wherever you put your attention, it is holy. Om, everything. And you'll feel that for the human, it is obscure, it is dark. For the human who clings on to the denials, it might be a bit provoking in experience. Get used to it. This meditation, the Buddha body meditation, okay, or the non-death, okay, the Buddha body, the indestructible body, the one that cannot be affected, is non-death. It's not life, it's non-death. It's to conceive as a human the absence of what seems to be death. And like wonderful Isaiah said, not so long ago, a few thousand years maybe, those who walk in darkness have seen the light. Those who walk in the valley of the shadow of death, upon them as a great light shine. Now, these people don't walk in death. They don't walk in the shadow of death. They walk in a valley where they just see a shadow that might be death. And they still are convinced that death is supreme Lord in life. Every one of your 5 senses, even one of your 6 senses, will tell you that death exists. Stop believing your senses. The body said, the Buddha said, the body of the Buddha is indestructible, cannot be affected, injured in any way. It does not require food to subsist, nor water. It will never age. It was never born. It is indestructible. And the disciple said, I think it was Subhuti, says, well, Buddha, please explain your wisdom, because the body I see now seems to be reliant on food and water, greatly seem to be decaying and about to die. Buddha was old, and does not seem to be indestructible. And the Buddha replied, oh, but the body you see right now is not the body of Buddha. It's not the body I'm talking to you about. Okay. What you perceive with your senses is not the body of Buddha. The Buddha body, non-dead, conscious, always compassionate Shiva, accepting what is divine, Om. Okay? Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. You will not feel confronted by death anymore as you practice this meditation. You will transcend, go into the Shiva land, where Shiva exists. What? Shiva is now an individual in a land. That's a metaphor. That's how we have words to speak of things. Going to Shiva's land is existing in the state of consciousness, of absolute compassion that will always allow the next experience to unfold for you to awaken. This is why this meditation is a bit obscure, dark. Only in state. Only to be accepting to observe yourself exactly as you are. Don't forget the body shell of the Buddha that expands. You imagine that you have a Buddha body that expands beyond the physical body, and then you forget the physical body, you just expand, and you let yourself loose in this immense conscious state of Shiva. Shiva is the universal observer. You, as a human, observe. The state of being, of observing, when it's everywhere in the universe, that is Shiva. Okay? The one with the third eye, the Triyambakam, they say. The Buddhists would say Avalokiteshvara, the Lord of the beholding eye. Same thing. Christian would say the Holy Spirit. It is the observer of what is in a state of compassion. But not just from one point of view, the entire universe, observing the entire universe. This is Shiva. So you invoke that and you dissolve yourself. You accept that your identity, while it believes in death, it will die and go away. But you are indestructible. Right? Non-death meditation. Okay? Great divine light it invokes from the highest plane of consciousness. Breathe. When you have time, do it for 20 minutes. Do it for an hour. When you get back from the state of mind of non-death, awakened, compassionate observer at the universal level, divine, the Buddha body meditation, when you come back from there, be soft with yourself, because your human will have undergone some kind of trial. You need to be kind with yourself, soft. This is challenging for the human. Okay? And please don't show off by teaching this to your friends in a bar. Keep it for yourself. Wait until there's sufficient experience in accepting emotions if they come, and stay in compassion. Give yourself time. Okay? This simple meditation will work mostly because you have been initiated, because I taught you, because we had this entire speech on the radiance of Om, consciously as Shiva, that awakens you, Buddha, to the knowledge of non-death, where nature is the game. Okay? Just take some time. Think about it. You can't just, oh, I know the mantra. It's Ahanta Buddha Shiva Om. You say this, you imagine your body expand. Should be good. Oh no, don't play this game. Okay? Don't teach this until you're really in the state of consciousness, until you master it. When you master it, then you're a master, so you teach it. Okay. Breathe. Now, this recording, we're going to have the full recording, and we're going to have a tape, soundtrack, of only the process of the meditation itself. that you can play and do just a little 5 minutes, just to crank you up. And when you get the hang of it, you do it without a tape and you just use it. And in your mind, it's not your voice or mine. In your mind, it can be like your 10 planes chanting, I have one voice. Okay? If I could make it dramatic with science and special effects, I'd do it. That would be actually a nice track to do. Questions?
Why did you use those different tones? Is that a different frequency?
Now, one inspires the darkness that the human has to let go of. And the other one is just roaming, Ahanta Buddha Shivam, Ahanta Buddha Shivam, just roaming, just there to support you in consciousness, okay? To bring you to the state. But sometimes one every minute you push, you say the dark way, saying, I'm facing whatever I'm afraid of. And you don't put effort. You just say, now I'm going to do it. No, because you're not meditating then, you're just convincing yourself. Just, and to the dark voice, and get used to this obscure type sound inside you, because this is what you want to touch with that. You want to touch non-death. This is not Amitabha Buddha, oh great infinite light. No, it's not that. It's face the facts. Then a trial comes in your life and you don't mind anymore. You've seen and experienced bigger stuff while in meditation. You come back, you integrate. You'll do this. You're not going to get into an obscure state of mind. You're going to touch your soul and probably have experiences of bliss and expanded consciousness. It'll be great. It really is great. But there is the fact that it is great because you face the truth as it is. For the human, it's not always fun. For the soul, party all night long. Just remind you that when you come back from the non-death meditation, and from now on I'm going to call it the Buddha body meditation, because people who don't know that don't want to hear the word death anywhere close to spirituality. So this is why I say it's the Buddha body meditation, okay? We're going to call it that way, as an expedient mean to keep people at peace. Not tell them that they'll have to face the truth if they don't want to hear about it. But you'll say, oh, we learned the Buddha body meditation. Oh, I want to learn that because it sounds so cool. You know, in the martial arts class, it's the touch of death and the palm of Buddha and all this stuff. But when you tell them that we're going to learn the 101 knuckle strikes, followed by many push-ups and sit-ups, they say, no, I don't want to learn that. When is the death palm of Buddha coming? You know, so we name things according to what will inspire them. So they will have no choice than to accept higher wisdom. Okay, when you come back from this Buddha body meditation, you don't recontract, okay? You stay expanded. You don't want to teach yourself that you are not oneness, that you are separated and isolated. No, you expand. And usually after a few minutes, you're fully expanded, and even the shape of your Buddha body is a metaphor that you just dissolve. And you just tune into the state of consciousness, and hopefully you'll transcend. Eventually, you'll lose. You go like this. Drop, and you think you went to sleep, but you did not. You transcended, which is good. Okay? When you come back, you breathe, and you stay aware. And you can have a few of these light little Ahanta, Buddha, Shiva. Just keep them, and your eyes open. I'm back. But not contracted from oneness. Still in whatever you can conceive of everything. And eventually you're walking on the sidewalk and you see a sign and your consciousness You're conscious that you are that sign. And you are not looking at the sign is being observed. It's not by you, it's just being observed, because this is what you are. And you look at the tree and you feel yourself not as identity, but as what is unhindered, non-death, what cannot be affected, Buddha body, conscious of oneness. And the Buddha body has no form, but is not deprived of form, is not built on intention, is not deprived of intention. It has no goal. It has absolutely no goal. It does not seek to attain something. The Buddha body is. Okay? And when you exist so strongly in the state of self-awareness, conscious of what you are, then you focus on something, it happens. Then you think, you create. Not what you want in your mind. I want lots of money. No. If you say, I want lots of money, you say that you are attached to material things. Thus, nature has power over you, so you do not have the power to create. I don't care about money. Everything you want comes. Like the alchemists, who to create gold needed to live a life of poverty and be happy in it. And then they could do whatever they want, because they don't need it. Why? Because they're imitating the Buddha. I am not seeking to do anything. So whatever I do is not meant to attain something. I just do it. Like this wife asking the husband, why do you fish? You could just go buy him. They have nets and efficient ways. No. The goal in fishing is not to catch the fish. It's to do the fishing. And then it's over. And you can brag about it if you had a catch, but seriously, you don't care. Okay? And a man sits on the couch not doing nothing. And the woman say, how can you do nothing? You should try it. You actually want to get there, because the lady never stopped thinking. They say a woman cannot enlighten. This is so they say. Okay, some Buddhists who did not understand the teaching of Buddha. No. A woman can enlighten. It's 15 times more difficult. Why? Because we have one hormone to manage and you have 15. Okay? And your mind never stops thinking, always thinking, we can sit on a couch and go, bleh. Okay? Buddha body, I get that, no problem. Okay? So you women practice Buddha body meditation and you successfully, I successfully attained no mind. I got that for 5 seconds, no thought. And then for a minute, and then you just snap out of transcending and you've been away for 1 hour. And of course, women can enlighten. It's just to kick their butt and getting them to do the thing that will get them to enlightenment. Okay? It is rare that a woman will reach enlightenment while she still believes that she has to manage the house in her way. You know, and a woman is so proud of having exactly everything in her way in a house. And the guy says, well, put this somewhere, I don't know. I'll look for it, or I'll ask you where you put it. I mean, you know, the man has this attitude of not really caring anyway. So this is why it's easier for us to attain enlightenment. Yet, it is easier for women to have supernatural ability. Why? Because they know how to develop mind power. Because they're always exercising. Okay? So when they enlighten, they kick ass. Okay? An enlightened woman is 10 times more powerful than a man. Try not to compete, guys. You lost. Okay? But 10 men will enlighten before one woman decides. Okay? It's just natural forces. Okay? So So the Buddhists that say you have to pray for women to give them a chance to become incarnate in a man so that they could enlighten. I never heard the Buddha Sakyamuni say this. I read one line in one sutra once that is authentically from the Buddha. It is the last line. And then they prayed for the women to reincarnate in men so that they could enlighten. Okay? That phrase is added, okay, many hundred years after the Buddha spoke. Okay? It's just, I put that there just to, affirm man's supremacy and, keep the women enslaved. Okay? Forget this, women. You have the power. Yeah. So do it. Go get it. Stop thinking. Oh boy, what did he say? Alright? Practice. The Buddha body meditation. Are you obsessed with thinking? Huh? Yes. Okay, so stop thinking now. And tell me when it's done. When you start to think again. Okay? Men with only a bit of training will say, okay, I'm not thinking. Not thinking. Not thinking. Not thinking. And you'll start to disturb them, and the only thing that will come in mind is, not thinking. Piss off, man. Okay? So it's okay. I wanted to tell this about the different experience in meditation from men and women, okay? Accepting this difference is important, okay? Be at peace with how you are. Be at peace. Manage everything in the house if you need to. Stop bitching the man for not thinking. Men, stop bitching the women for always thinking. Okay? There's a difference. You be at peace with it. And then when you meditate, gender stops affecting you. In meditation, you have no gender. Okay? You free yourself from what dies. Only your physical body has gender. So through the experience of non-death, whatever dies stops having influence on you. This is very useful information. People with addictions do the meditation. But to learn this meditation, you need experience. I don't teach the newbies. Okay? You need experience in meditation. Because it'll be just, they won't get it, or it'll just hit them too hard, or they won't care. And they start teaching it at the New Age parlor. Drinking latte. Alright? It was fun to speak to you tonight. It was fun. My pleasure. I wish you a very good night, and I see you tomorrow at 9.